Welcome back to another video. My name is Kat, known as phamerina.planning here on YouTube and on Instagram. And today's video is a plan with me for the week of September 1st through September 7th using this kit from Saucy Stickers Co. called Inner Child. I did receive this kit as an oops quality kit. Not really. I'm gonna guess the kit's like slightly misaligned. I don't know. And then I purchased the add-ons at a later point in time. And just full disclosure, Rebecca does not do this kind of kit format anymore. So unfortunately, you won't be able to get this kit. Granted, that's kind of like the whole point. Not the whole point, but that's the downside of using older kits. The good side is, I actually use the kits. But yeah, this collection is foiled in gold. And I had this crazy idea because I realized I hadn't done a horizontal sidebar in a while. And then I also realized I hadn't done a double sidebar in a while. So why don't we do something crazy and do both of them together? So that is what we are doing for this week, is a double horizontal sidebar. So both sidebars are horizontal. If you remember in my last video, or the last plan with me at least, fireflies, traditional gold. I generally speaking don't like to mix my golds. However, I had this freebie from the Pretty Pink Co., one of their Power Hour freebies. And originally, I actually was going to use this with Crimson Harvest from Dash of Sun last year, but again, it was like the light gold versus traditional gold thing, and I had enough from Dash of Sun to not really have to pull in, to need to pull this in. However, I was very intent on using this freebie, even though it was in traditional gold, with this specific collection, because Inner Child, the theme is just all about like amusement parks and things like that. And I didn't get to preface that this is going to start the tradition of using a kind of carnival type kit for the first week in September, unless something else comes up in the first week of September, obviously, to mark the end of summer. Because in my heart, September is fall, even though fall doesn't start until the 22nd. But in my heart, I'm already ready for fall. So this is the one last vestige of summer, one last hurrah to summer that I do with a carnival kit. So yep, pulling in. So this sidebar is primarily just using the freebie from the Pretty Pink Co. and just pulling in a couple of elements, because I don't want it to be all foil, because that would just be a little bit of a headache to have it entirely. Well, I know that the Pretty Pink Co. does have like those foiled sidebar thingies, but I feel like that didn't last very long, I guess is how I'll say that, because there's only a handful of those, and I haven't seen them really release any new ones since. So maybe they weren't as popular as they were expecting, which I can understand that. I know for myself, a lot of the fun in putting together a spread is doing my own individual layering. Like, to me, are there times when I probably want to make this as easy as possible? Yeah, but those moments are not very often, So taking the quote unquote easy way out, has in using that time saver. Yes, it will save time, but for me, it won't satisfy me creatively, because this is partially what this is a creative outlet. Um, so I guess all that to say is that a fully foiled sidebar would be too much. So I needed to balance out with some premium matte deco. Um, and I didn't really like. I don't necessarily think um, that these two sidebars are in conversation with each other. That wasn't what my intention was when I set out to make them both. I kind of really made them both independently of each other. You know, I finished the one and then I'm doing the other, and I'm not looking back at the first sidebar while designing the second sidebar. Um, they're realistically two independent sidebars just on the same page or on the same spread. Um, yeah, so that's kind of that thing. Um, I will say that the fact that the one sidebar has a lot more traditional gold in it is bothering me, but for the look of to have those the foil deco pieces, I'm willing to like let it go. I'm doing everything I can in my power to just not worry about it, you know? Um, but yeah, this collection is an oldie. Not that old. I believe it was only maybe released last year. I do remember being around when it released. Um, no, maybe I wasn't. No, this is in last year. This was in last year's format because it has those. Uh, at least from what I recall, the format is like the functional pieces seem to be in last year's format, but maybe not because maybe the headers were not. But regardless, it was either 2024 or 2023, so it's not like that old. Um, where was I going with that? Literally, the thought poofed out of my brain. Oh yeah, I was talking about like how I like this collection, even though it's like a very pink collection. I really like how Rebecca balanced it out with like that bluish green, that the green that is a little bit blue. I'm bad with colors. Um, so I finished that sidebar, finished the right sidebar, and I realized, oh yeah, I need to finish out the left sidebar somehow because I thought maybe originally I was going to put the date script up there, but then I thought that would look kind of funny. Since the one sidebar, well, one I put the date script in the middle, and then the second thing is like the right sidebar extended all the way up and down. So now the left sidebar has to, otherwise this is just gonna look kind of silly. Um, so that's what I'm doing here, finishing up that sidebar. How many times have I said sidebar in this video? All right, so then the next challenge was figuring out which date to split up, and I kind of want to do that ahead of time because I didn't want to necessarily default to splitting up the weekends because usually for me, my weekends are the busiest weekends. Those are the things that I really want to mark. As in like those are the fun things. Not that I don't do fun things during the week, but they're not as fun as what we do on the weekends sometimes. Sometimes the weekends are just work. Um, yeah. So I uh, decided to what am I? Oh, I'm splitting the page because it'd be easier for me to line to put my garlands up at the top. These garlands, at first I thought they were bunting, but they're just string lights. But I feel like they work with this kit. So going back, I had to assess which of the days I was splitting. Um, and I mean, the last time I did a split date, to my recollection, was February. I probably have done it since, maybe not. No, I've done it since then. It was a Starlight paper one, the fairy one. Um, but I want to do more than just like split the column in half. You know, I feel like a lot of people, when they do split the column, um they put the same, like they do the same deco at the top of the bottom, or like whatever their date cover area is, they will put that same date cover elements around that split area. And I did it in the tailor made video for sure. I cannot remember in the Starlight Paper video, but in the tailor made video, I like designed the split around kind of frame, like by framing it with full boxes and deco. And I figured it might be a good idea, unless the day is really important, to split one of these middle dates. um, like, so either splitting Wednesday and Thursday or Thursday and Friday, you know? That way I can combine my center bridge um, with this split column. I'm hoping I'm making sense. Um, I Here's me struggling to figure out where to slap this date cover, because it's kind of in an awkward position on that full box. And I was like, man, I really wish I had reconsidered which full box to put down here. Like maybe a floral full box would be the best one to put here. But for my center bridge composition, having the film strip with the Ferris wheel made the most sense. So I was like, you know what, screw it. Not every decision is going to be perfect. You know, we're gonna make mistakes along the way. It's all right. Mistakes to me, happy accidents is how we could reframe them, and other people probably wouldn't even notice. So yeah, that's kind of really the base. The rest of the full boxes are just going to be in the columns because of all of the busyness around the edges. Um, I wanted to keep the rest of the full boxes very simple. How long do I work on this center bridge area? Oh my goodness. I don't remember. And I didn't really do this spread that long ago. Um but yeah, these florals I feel like I don't know. I feel like certain florals really stand out to me. These florals, I don't know if we've I don't know if they were very popular in 2023 to 2024 timeframe, because I remember seeing them for the one Sadie stickers, two Sadie stickers mysteries, the koi fish one, and like a rainy one. There was another one where they were recolored. Sadie's team specifically, and I know Blissful J Design had also used these in a journaling collection of her own. Um, so these florals must have been very popular back in the day. I'm trying to think if I have seen them as of the beginning of November, in a 2025, in another 2025 release. And I don't, outside of anything I named, because I think the Sadie's kit might have been released this year. Because I feel like it's that transition kit, the one with the snow melting. I just do not remember what month that is. Um, I feel like that one also used these florals. But other than that, I don't think anyone else has used these florals. I could be wrong, but we move on. So I believe that's probably we're rounding out the end of the base. I do wish I pulled in more of these, like, kind of, I'm gonna call them Bujo elements. They're not necessarily Bujo elements, but they're very much, once you start a bullet journal, these are the things you're gonna see: those little stars, those little diamond shapes. Um, if I recall correctly, Rebecca is kind of was one of like the pioneers of the of this kind of, not journaling movement, because that's not necessarily what she did, um, but these incorporating journaling elements into your weekly spread. Rebecca was really at the forefront of that, from my recollection of the evolution of this kind of decorative planning. Um, So I really do wish I pulled more of those little diamond shaped color blobs in, but alas, the spread was going to start getting busy, so I couldn't do that. And in typical fashion, we move on to the day by day. Monday was Labor Day. Um, but since we did Labor Day like celebrations at my parents' house already, we just stayed home that day. I think yeah, last year we stayed home because I bought the car. I mean Labor Day is it's a very important quote unquote holiday, but to remember how come we have our work hours and all of that, Labor Day is very integral to remember why. I think that's the important thing about Labor Day that we don't necessarily emphasize. But moving on, moving on. It was a cleaning day. I did some filming and some laundry on Tuesday. Tuesday. When is this? September. September, October. Okay, so I pretty much had my kits figured out up to September. And I've been much more conscientious about buying stuff for the rest of the year. So we knew Halloween was coming up and then Christmas. So I had not really been buying collections and kits up until like for the following months. Um, so I really needed to sit down and evaluate um, what kits I was going to be using from my collection already and what I needed to shop for. So that was Tuesday. We had pizza and then I had some more planning time. Wednesday, I had ramen for dinner. And like, I remember, I looked at the space. I was like, okay, so um, we're going to mark one thing up here and then we're going to mark two things at the bottom because I have three things in my notes. So we're going to mark one thing up here and then three things at the bottom. And so that's why I like pulled in this swatch and um, start just decorating around here. And then I start to slide down the page after I'm done. And I'm like, oh, wait, this is Thursday. Well, that sticker is down. The only other two things I had on here were voiceover and edit, which I'm like, they're not like the most important things to mark. So whatever, it's not a big deal. On Thursday, I had my confirmation ultrasound because at the facility I had my first prenatal appointment. They didn't have the proper um, equipment to do the ultrasound. Um, so I had my confirmation ultrasound the following week, which was this week. Um, and it was interesting because at the first ultrasound, um, they were measuring the little guy at a week behind. So if I was 6 weeks at my first appointment, which I think you're no, if you're I think you're 8 weeks. Oh my goodness, I just did this. Um 10. Yeah, you're eight. I was 8 weeks at my first appointment. So they were measuring the little guy at 7 weeks. So at this appointment, it should have been 9 weeks, and they were measuring the little guy at 8 weeks. And that's just based off of the date of your last period and all that. Um, so I remember because they kept asking me, when was the date of your last menstrual cycle? And I was like, June 30th. I remember very distinctly because I thought that, I was going to have a kid and I didn't. So, um, they're like, maybe you menstruated later, but I don't know, or ovulate, not menstruate, you ovulated later. So you're actually like a week behind what you're based off your menstrual, whatever, moving on. But it was just interesting because that whole time they were just like, when was your date? Like, are you sure that's right? And I was like, yes, I know, because I was waiting for my cycle to start and it didn't. So, um, I know for sure when it was. And I logged things in my bullet journal. Um, so that happened. And then, on Thursday was also the Eagles home opener. If you know anything about Philadelphia, if you want to not appear like you're from out of town, go Birds. Football season, you just say go Birds. It gets you far. Trust me, I know. It will get you places if you say go Birds. We bleed green here, dude. We bleed green. Um, Friday, the kit lineup. Which lineup is this? Was this September's lineup? No, September's lineup went off. It must be August's lineup. August lineups went live, and then I did some sticker shopping and got some Happy Mail. Did not mark it in here what it was. Saturday, I had a breakfast with my boys. Bub has this small trampoline, indoor trampoline. Like, it can go outdoor too, but it's a small one. And he was just shoving his cars through the springs and calling that his car wash. And then I had something on my Insta story go up that day. I'm not very good at keeping my notes, apparently. On Sunday, I did a grocery run. We played in the rain, and then we played some Mario Kart. And then it was a rough parenting night. Yeah, I'm in the thick of the threes. He just turned 3, but I'm in like the thick of the three-nager. So this must have been like the starting point of that streak. So that is the video. That is the spread. Here are the kit leftovers. I've been noticing I forget how to do my outros. They just kind of go all over the place. But yeah, so that is the spread, which I've already said. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't mind where that color wash is flipped up. It's permanently like that. I can't get it to stick. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would love it if you gave it a little like. Leave a comment with any of your thoughts down below. And I would be so happy if you join my little channel here by subscribing. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.